swing it. It's a ball, fly ball. Home run!
NBA playoffs is a great time of the year, obviously. We got everything going on. Looks like Spurs versus the Thunder in the West, and it might be the Heat versus the Celtics in the East. Pretty close matchups all around so far, but it's gone real quick. Nothing's really gone too long, but the next series should be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get down to the conference finals here, and that's going to be very interesting. I think the NBA playoffs have been, with a shortened season, has been very interesting. I'm going to throw some questions at Smitty here because he's been following the NBA playoffs much closer than I have. So basically, right now with Oklahoma City, this is a young team, right? This is a very young team, and there's been a lot of talk about them beating up on the Lakers being told having to blow up the Lakers, and now they're going to face the San Antonio Spurs, another team people are saying is too old. Then on the flip side of that, the other side of that, you've got a potential matchup with the Celtics in the finals, yet another old team. Are we seeing, in your opinion, a shift from some of these old veteran teams to a young NBA dominating?
The NBA is normally driven by young superstars, there's no question about that. The difference is San Antonio, they are considered an older team by some, but if you actually look at their roster, the majority of their team is actually young. Tony Parker just turned 30, where Ginobili and Duncan are 34 years old. The rest of the team is in their early to mid-20s, so they're actually a young team. They're by far the deepest team in the league, and I think that's what allowed them to move so smoothly into the Western Conference Final. I actually think they will take out the Thunder in the finals, solely based upon the fact that they do have home court advantage, and they're also just that much deeper. So, in terms of a shift, I think it all depends on your superstars. The NBA is totally run upon superstars. Miami has the young superstars in LeBron and D. Wade, where Oklahoma City obviously has Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, who are great players and clearly deserve to be where they are. That doesn't say that the Thunder couldn't beat out the Spurs, but I think the Spurs just have too much depth. But in terms of youth, obviously all these teams have youth on their teams. When I said San Antonio is considered an older team by some, however, looking at the roster, looking in more in depth, they actually are a young team. So that actually does point out to your question that youth does drive playoff teams these days. It looks like the Lakers were a little too old. The Celtics are taking one last shot at it. I don't think the Celtics would be even in the equation if Rose and Noah weren't hurt for the Bulls. So that's my opinion on that.
Okay, well, you hit on two other things I want to touch on there real quick. First of all, you finished off the Bulls. What would be your biggest surprise in the playoffs? Mine was the Bulls going out. The NBA, typically, your top seeds go through early on, especially early on in the playoffs. The Bulls go out early. Would that be your biggest surprise? And if not, what is?
No, that would absolutely be the biggest surprise. I like the 76ers, and they're clearly giving the Celtics all they can handle, but that's clearly the biggest surprise. I mean, no one wanted to see Rose go out the way he did. I mean, he might be out next year as well. Looks like 12 months, but that would be absolutely the biggest surprise this year.
The other point you mentioned you went to was the Heat. Bosch is out injured.
Yeah.
There was talk that he was out indefinitely. They've just come out and said now today that he's going to miss Game 6 for sure. I haven't seen anything as to when he's coming back. What about the Heat? Is this it? Is this their run with salary cap issues coming up? Are they going to have to break up the big three? Do the Heat now look like they have it together against the Pacers and are going to run this thing, or what?
I think the Pacers will probably. I mean, barring the fact that they do have some injuries, if the Pacers can elongate this series, they can make it more difficult for the Heat to win this year. Not saying they'll have a problem with in the East. I think they could take out the 76ers or the Celtics if they face them in the final, but. Facing the Spurs or the Thunder, I think the Heat have issues. I don't know if you have to blow the team up, but if you are going to get rid of one of the players, I think you have to let go of Dwayne Wade. He does seem to be the one who's more injury prone, and he definitely is the older of the three players. The hard part with this team is that obviously these three are great players. Put them on any other team, and they're the superstar of that team. The problem is once you pay all those three players the amount of salary that they have, that doesn't leave much for their bench, and that does seem to be the Achilles heel for this team. If you imagine the fact that the Heat might go on and play the Spurs, well, the Spurs can match the talent of the Heat and then some when you consider what they bring in terms of their bench play. So.
All right, quick prediction then. Do you want to do who's coming out of the East and West, or do you just want to pick a favorite to win the whole thing?
Well, I think it's coming. Whoever is coming out of the West, I think wins.
Okay.
I have a feeling the Spurs are going to beat the Thunder, but that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. I like the Thunder just as much, so I think realistically, whoever comes out of the West wins this
Okay.
year.
So we got a lot to go on the NBA.